make a YouTube video, which is good and bad. Because that means you could learn from some kid in Kentucky and he could have something that helps you create a really great trading system. No, it's not going to be plug and play. We know that. But the tricky thing about video is that anybody can make a YouTube video. So there's a lot of noise on YouTube. There's a lot of ideas that don't work. So I feel like the quality is lower, but the quantity is higher. I have learned a lot from YouTube as the quantity is so high. And at the end of the day, you're really trying to spark your brain to that idea that changes your system forever. So I don't want to leave out YouTube videos. You can type in trading strategies, you can type in trending strategies, you can type in mean reversion, you can type in crypto, you can type in any type of indicator, and you'll find a wealth of knowledge on anything you type in to YouTube. Just remember that it's easy to post on YouTube, so anybody can post. At the end of the day, you're just looking for ideas that you can put into your systems, and then you can test to see if they actually work in the past. So with YouTube videos, you literally have unlimited research that you
No,
can do.
it's what's called machine learning. So you find things that are predictive. You might guess, oh, such and such should be predictive, might be predictive, and you test it out in the computer, and maybe it isn't, maybe it isn't. You test it out on long-term historical data and price data and other things, and then you add to the system this if it works, and if it doesn't, you throw it out. So there aren't elaborate equations, at least not for
Favorite? Why they do the European favorite? He says smashing day 12. Nice, dude. Loving it. I have 3 questions. Why do you pick 11th bid or ask? Is there a reason? No. How do you find arbitrage? Is it hit and trial? No, it's math. How do you maintain research in RBI data like notes and all? I use Apple Notes. I use Apple Notes and my code editor. I find it funny people outside the US use the word doubts. I have 3 doubts because here in America, that word is like, I know what you mean because I know because I've been working with people internationally for a long time now, but I don't know how to explain this. Maybe I can use AI to explain it. Let me just use some AI to explain this funny thing that I've noticed. It's nothing against you. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the questions. So I find it interesting that here in the United States, we never say I have 3 doubts of your training. Like for example, if I purchase a training from somebody, I would never be like, "Yo, I have 3 doubts of your training." That insinuates that like that you doubt something, like it doesn't work, or it's like this is whack, or it's kind of a negative connotation here in the United States. But it seems like outside the US, they use doubts as, hey, I've got 3 questions. But if people would say that in that way, that comes off so much different than saying, hey, I have 3 doubts of your training. Because, hey, I have 3 doubts of your training means like, yo, I doubt this shit's gonna work. Or I doubt this, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So, can you articulate that difference here for me? I'm having a hard time explaining this to the chat, and I think it's a very interesting conversation because when reading the written word, especially country to country, things can get misconstrued so easily. So I just try to like be kind to the words and know that everybody kind of says things differently. But yeah, explain that difference between doubts and questions. I feel like in other parts of the world, doubts is a synonym for questions, but doubts is definitely not a synonym for question here in the US. I want to see what she says about that. I just got here. What we doing? Meme coins or regular markets? You've made a fascinating observation about cross-cultural language differences. Let me break this down. In the US, doubt carries a negative connotation. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And I get a lot of people asking questions like, "Yeah, I got a question." In India, yes. Okay, so yeah, I get it a lot from India, and I know it's all kind. I know it's just a different word. Um, cool. It's cool to hear that it's from India. Um, I think some other countries as well, but whatever. I just learned to like stop getting offended by it. It's just different word. We all know the same slang. Like we're all homies. We're all friends. But like early on in my career, I was like, "What is you talking about, dude? Doubts? I ain't got no doubt about this." In the US, doubt carries a negative connotation. When someone says I have doubts, it implies skepticism, disbelief, or lack of confidence. That's it, dude. Example, I have doubts about this training. I'm skeptical that this training is legitimate, effective. In many countries, especially where English is a second language, doubt is commonly used as a direct translation for question or query. We don't use that word either. Okay, so it's a direct translation. Okay, that makes so much more sense, dude. I've kind of picked up on that because, like, coming from people that I know that aren't saying, like, yo, I'm skeptical or whatever, it kind of started to make sense. It's like, oh, okay, it's just a different language here. So, doubt is commonly used as a direct translation for question or query, particularly common in Indian English, influenced by Hindi, where Shanka can mean both doubt and question. Interesting. So you got a Shanka, bro. So I got a Shanka. I got your Shanka answers, bro. Example, I have 3 doubts. I have 3 questions. I have 3 questions I'd like to clarify. This is a classic example of what linguists call false friends or language transfer, where a word exists in multiple cultures. The literal translation is the same, but the cultural, pragmatic meaning differs significantly. And I would say that's one of those words that differs significantly. If you're not Mr. Worldwide, Mr. Cultured like Moondev, you might get offended. It's similar to how British quite often means somewhat. Interesting. I didn't know that. So it means somewhat in British, quite. In American, it means very. Or how table a discussion means postpone the discussion in the US, bring the discussion forward. That's crazy. This is why international communication requires not just language translation, but cultural awareness. When someone says, I have doubts about your training, it's important to consider the cultural context. They might simply be asking for clarification rather than expressing skepticism. See, that's tough right there. This is a tough sentence because this could be all love, bro. I have doubts about your training. But if I read that as an American, I'd be like, what's your doubts, bro? What's wrong? I thought it was super fire, dude. I thought it was so good. Why you got doubts about it, dude? But coming from Indian American, it's like, yo, I just got 3 questions about your training. So just a little cultural language lesson there for the fam here today. Let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. Okay, so how to automate your trading, the RBI. So researching is number one. Here's a few ideas. Okay, sweet. In Italian, we say "ho della gubi," meaning I have some doubts. Hmm. Italy. Italy, huh? Artel. You know, you're living that Italy life out there, dude. That's pretty far. So let's just go look around Google Scholar for a bit. Google Scholar here. Go through Google Scholar and you can just type into Google Scholar. There's a bunch of things. Now I wanted to show you, you can see like trading strategy. Okay, let's start there.